Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? It is day 16 of 2 RPG a day 2017. August 26th. Pretty amazing. It's going by this fast. Our question is, which RPG provides the most useful resources? So, before I answer this question, I just want to say that I'm really having a lot of fun, answering all these questions, and it got me thinking that I'd really love to look back at the old questions from 2014, 2015. Maybe look at see if any of those I want to answer later on at some point. I love this getting to know you exercise, or just maybe just pontificating about myself. I know I blitzkrieged the 2016 after the fact, but I may look back at some of those questions again with some different perspectives. But you're not here to listen to my plans or how I'm going to try to take over the world and tell you all about myself, are you? But just found the whole exercise really interesting. And of course, one of the things, when I looked at this question, this is one of the ones that gave me pause, like, I'm not really sure how to answer this because I don't know, and because I have my perspectives are, well, I'll get to my perspectives. But I realize that these questions, they're jumping off points. It's clear none of us are in the position to be the definitive authority on what's the best. It's just our opinions or, what our experience is. This is a big, giant hobby with a lot of perspectives, a lot of intentions. One man's trash is another man's treasure, etc. But we can all offer our perspectives here, and a lot of times, open everybody up to like a bigger world, which I've had that happen watching other people's videos. Anyhow, so I figured, well, how am I going to answer this? Because first off, I don't know, and second off, I don't necessarily. Well, let's get to this. The first thing I was thinking was I was being really linear, like stuff you would have to buy after the core book. That's what I was thinking as resources were. And fortunately, I heard some other people talk about, well, it could be this, it could be that. I watched Runeslinger's video was up, and I watched that one. I got some decent idea from that one, or just I like that perspective because that's what this is all about, getting people's perspectives. And it got me thinking more about like what do I want as a resource? What do I want from an RPG as a resource? And because that can be just about anything. Now, initially my thoughts were, well, I don't want an RPG where I have to buy more stuff. And part of this is probably because of my experience, and partly because I'm cheap, and I don't want to spend a lot of money, or whatever it happens to be. I'm gonna take a little sip of this polar soda here, or seltzer. Part of that's my experience. I got the Moldvay set, basic D&D BX, back in 1981. Very quickly, I ended up buying the 3 core books for Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. I played those books for years. Yeah, I bought a few, character sheets and whatnot. I've got some stuff that's arguably now collector's items. But, I think I bought the monster books, like the Fiend Folio and the Monster Manual 2, and I got a Deities and Demigods, which I lost at some point. It was not the original one with the Cthulhu and Melibonian, but I'd like to get my hands on one of those just as a collector thing. But anyhow, I digress. It's not about that. But I had these books that I played with for a long time, and I didn't buy Splat stuff. I never got into second edition or all their stuff. I'm not saying that's bad. I just didn't do that. So I didn't have an experience with continuing to buy a line of stuff. And, that always kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I wanted the core book to be able to stand alone. So, that said, I'm really impressed with Triple Ace games. The stuff I've gotten for All for One Regime Diabolique has been top notch. It's like really good stuff. Like the core book stands alone, but there's a lot of really neat extra setting stuff, of some like adjunctive rules in context. All this kind of good stuff, for different situations. Really cool. The same thing for the Leagues of Adventure, Leagues of Gothic Horror line. It's really good stuff. Like, I'll be honest, I haven't read it all. It's a lot of stuff to digest. And also, I haven't completely digested and read all of the Hollow Earth Expedition stuff from Exile games. But there's stuff, the extra stuff is good stuff. So I enjoy that. Is it the best? I don't know, but I sure like it. And that's a high compliment, because normally I'm put off by all that. I don't want to have to buy this extra stuff. On another side, and I've looked at it, I've peeked through, I've seen friends' copies. I don't own any of the other stuff from Lamentations of Flame Princess, all the extra little books and setting type stuff or module type stuff. It's all phenomenal. It's all, their stuff is a little on the pricier side, but the physical quality is amazing. So, is it a resource? Yeah, I suppose so. It's good stuff. Like, it's really good. So, I'll leave it at that. So, that's kind of stuff that, initially before I started buying all these other role-playing games, that's what I was going to do is buy all that stuff. But I spent my money elsewhere, so I have to go back. And anyhow. But what else do I really want for a resource for a role-playing game? You know, Anthony mentioned the idea that, and I've talked about this before, like examples of actual play. That's really important for me. You know, he mentioned in his video, you know, a game or two had really good examples of actual play, and I agreed. I like that. I like, you know, any game, you know, or what do I want from a game as far as a resource? I want the rules to be really, really clear. And give me examples. Show me what's under the hood. Show me why you're doing things. Give me make it crystal clear for me and for anybody else that's picking up the game that's going to play with me. How does this actually work? How are we supposed to be doing this? So that's a resource I definitely want in a game. Another thing that I found is a really great resource is having a whole bunch of stuff online, whether it's, you know, downloadable character sheets or, you know, the like little quick start things. Actually, the Exile game has a lot of great little quick starts for Hollow Earth Expedition. Gives you this really good idea of what some of these, you know, a starting adventure, or starting like Hook or whatever would look like. Neat stuff. They've got a bunch of little cool little free stuff to download. Triple Ace has some pretty neat stuff for their products as well. I like that. Having a forum devoted to your game on your site, even if it's not really all that populated, but just where enthusiasts can go and you can meet other people and talk about that particular game. That's a pretty neat resource. You know, you probably end up getting more support, depending on the game, I suppose, on other websites. You know, get some enthusiasts, but just having some kind of little forum area, you know, where the people that like that game can sit there and talk about whatever, including the creator. That's a neat little extra resource for an RPG. So I find that really cool. I'm trying to think what other game like I really was impressed by, like, you know, some of the stuff they did lately. I mean, I'm reading through Fate, and I'm gonna make a Fate video or two and talk about my impressions of the game. I really like to play that as well. But I'm gonna stick to just what I've seen in the the core book, the Fate Accelerated book. Really like how they lay out, like, even things like character creation, and you know, how they integrate that with, you know, setting up whatever world you have. Really cool, because they kind of walk you step by step through these like examples. That's really cool. That's a cool resource. I'm jumping around a little bit here. Let's see, what else would be a resource. You know, anything else that's really needed to play your game. You know, the fact that you know, Exile, you know, Jeff Combos went over and above and like had somebody make Ubiquity dice. Pretty cool. So that's a neat little resource there. But you know, at the end of the day, you know, to me, the biggest resource for any role-playing games are the other players, the people that are enthusiastic about the game, that have learned the game, that are available, you know, to pick their brains. Or how did you do this? How did you handle that? What kind of ideas have you had? So that's outside the control of the role-playing game designer or publisher. That's us. That's you. That's me. That's the brigade. That's this whole community. That's the best resource I think there is for any role-playing game. Is the community at large. That's something that's completely out of the locus of control of the people that produce it or make it or publish it. So yeah, I think at the end of the day, we're the best resource for any RPG. How about that? What do you think?